Oh, là so, devi ta juna dido ela.
So now can I begin?
Ani samalo tashitele shuri.
So to begin with, I want to send my greetings to everybody. Tashidele.
Deni lungba dela ta sanjinji temba tarse lungba za chimbo, ten za chimbo. Ani be kawachungsung.
I'm very happy to be here. This is an incredible country and one of the very powerful places of the Bhagavan. So I'm very happy to be here. No, so much.
Oh, là so, deni ta diring ngasoji kamme joyaji josha dawrate. Ani 당진다 아니 찐지 님보 때야지 다 가면 되지 그게 님보다
So today the teachings, the talk is about how to tackle self-grasping and egoism. So
그래서 되니 다데 산제지 송은 디파지 하면서 개와 무슨 소리도 랑이 쌤네 요소도 되는 산제 템바이스 다 디가라 디도셔서와
and so I want to begin with a very short sutra of Buddha, which says, do not commit any non-virtuous actions, accumulate all the perfect merits, pacify your mind. These are the teachings of the Buddha.
다데 인자 가서다 직대지 컴 잠블링 딜라라다 가서 태간다고 제시와이나다 동에 리 용다 용지와제다 강에 리 주마시와제 여드로.
So now to assess our situation on this world, just by being on this world, the world itself is a place of constant suffering and problems one after another without interruption, no? Don't you think so? No, sorry.
잠블링 나라 자외제다 시샤지 리 la pepe ani lobjong je ri che thombo za chimbo lakpar de la ani ji chingwe bo yarje da ya ani di chumbi je ji ani ji dewe chu duya je da berje ji namba mamu zinang de ro.
And so on this world, there's been the characteristic of the people who live in this world is intelligence. So there's been an incredible movement of research and development, scientific development and technological development to be well, right?
다디서 정말로 가져로 다지 자침보다 레들에게 다 이나양 그 가져로 다지 친구고 야제 잠지 아니 가져라 다지 리선라 되지 할레바 자침보지 톱주메와 당 아니다 다지 가져로 다지 가서 예전으로 지나 되니 내염지 니주 로드를 레용되나 다 잠을라 코차 할리비 강이 숙정부 쉬우지
And so the point is that concentrating exclusively on external material development, it doesn't seem to bring about that much of happiness and satisfaction, physical and mental happiness and satisfaction that we required. Although I'm not saying anything, everything is just excellent. Technological development is excellent, but you see, it can't really satisfy of happiness physically and mentally. In fact, as soon as there is something happening like the pandemic in the entire world, it becomes a huge problem for everybody, despite this incredible technological development.
아니 치 니치 doctor 메베지 강에 지치는 데나라 아니 지게 낭게 셈게 아니 진당래 아니 처벌래 아 디지털라 아니 배 할레비 쪼고 쉬우지게 미주간에다 아 레바데 미참마지 자추원다스로
And so this pandemic, the situation, the pandemic disease has made us more aware of the difficult situation that that we all live in not only from the point of view of external difficulties, but how much problems, unbelievable, unbearable mental problem in the mind of people. So this has become quite clear.
대자 아니 지금 뭐지 야제 대자라 남중 가서 이치치야 르기치야 아 미창로 니레 초하노라 아니지 뒤수 콤바 메바토네 아니 다딜라 베 죽든치야레 이베 자침부 쉬우지 찌네 다고 젠디지 중대로와 다디 자침부 찌와 나진다 르 케와다 이치치와 나지예 아니 지금 뭐지 아니 대지 표준소가 되게 아니 가져라 아니 카톡 강의 들리드나라 다지 셈나라 대지 남주이게 쯔바 나지 아니 뭐니스다 겐드 숙천부 이바데야 당고 쉬우지 트레스 잡는디나
And so therefore this only exclusively pushing on the side of the technological external development, we trust so much those things. We trust so much the technological advancement. But if from the side of the technological advancement, if it was really deserving so much trust from the side of the people, of us who are actually using those things, then they should be in the moment, immediately in the moment that there is a slightest problem, that there is need, it should be able to immediately do something to help, but it's not. This is something that we all experience. Lanso?
대인자 당가서 지금 셈게 다 대지대 주준치야 대배 개침부스래도 아니 잠블링 로종 용수도가 너네 아니 낭 셈게 아니 로종데 가서 만당와다 용차위죠 아니 낭 셈게 아니 로종데 아니지 가서로다 지고 타다 뭐매바지 시럽지 공배 당줘요 송장 아니 낭 셈게 다 시럽디 공배지 땅터바 있나 아니 가서 이제 오늘 전에 지 만두비 동행다 대비 대화드스데 아니지 그 가져로다지 동행 만두바 빵투야지당 대화되어 줍돼야지 아니 그 띵중 대코난이지 로베바지 인간에 아니 통투그러와
So you see, therefore, it is extremely important to put our attention at the level of, at the mental level, happiness and suffering, how to really produce everlasting happiness and eliminate completely the suffering. So for this, although in the world there is an incredible advancement on the education system, it seems that the education system that we have now, it totally lacks of knowledge about the mind, how to tackle negative emotion, destructive emotion, how to develop our mind. So to develop our mind, we need wisdom. If we had an education which brings about the attention on which underpins their motive on the development of wisdom, and the wisdom is developed, then with this wisdom, we could act, because phenomena are interdependent, we could actually tackle much better whatever is the happiness that we need and achieve, and whatever is the suffering that we need to get rid of and eliminate. So for this, we will require wisdom.
아니 산제 좀 된디자 통보네 안가서라 동을시바차 아니 군중방와차 람 아니 공바차 고방원도차 송나다
And so the first teachings that the Buddha Bhagavan gave, the 4 truths of the superior, of the Aryas, are first of all, know the suffering, abandon the origin, achieve cessation, and practice the path. Lasso?
대인자는 가서 동네에 짜와디 무엇이 그래서셔야 돼. 개체 보인 사람아 아니 동네 만들어봐이나 그 만들어 잠시 동네에 저거 말아. 대만 되어봐이나 아니 지 수수기 아니 레바라지 겹들이마도 아니 유잖아 아니 대화 용거 말아. 대송아 인자네 다 동네 짜와데 당지 말봐 라야 돼. 임바지 무엇이야 돼. 개체 보인 사람아.
So therefore, following the Buddha's first teaching, it becomes extremely important to spotlight what is the root of suffering. That's extremely important for us to understand that, because just wishing to be happy, praying to be happy, or wishing to be free from suffering, hoping not to suffer, that doesn't bring about anything. We need to know exactly what is the root of suffering. And this is the ignorance of true grasping that grasps to an intrinsic reality. Not so?
제가 미처음으로 아니 자리 아니 내가 대wan 되어지다 동행만 되어지 네다 추킬레나 말이나 혼자서 소소기 토당 잡으러.
So now everybody, every single sentient being, just as a way of natural right, natural that is embedded in the life, we all want to be happy and we don't want to suffer. This has nothing to do with the religion or non-religion or this and that. It is everybody. Lanso.
제가 당지 말이빠 라야디 타고 지로 친지로 지인데 맞지. 아니 네 간드스 내고에메 아니 지 당지 말이빠 줘야 돼. 그런 게 내당 가리메. 안 그런 게 질레 가리메. 뭐다 간디인데 아니 제주 전에 롭존 쳐야 돼. 그래서 빼미지 개시 뭐 있어라.
So therefore, let's go back to the root of suffering, this ignorance of true grasping that grasps into a true intrinsic reality. It is a distorted cognition. It is a distorted mind. It is a distorted perception. So therefore, we need to know what it is profoundly. We need to know what is the nature of this type of conception, why it doesn't conceive in that way, what are the modality if we want to eliminate it. Longs to check.
이게 친지로데 로디게 아니지 가져로다. 누구에게 정신라 아니 대wan진에 차단 제대하지. 아니 메다비 정신라 아니 딱받진에 차단일로 제대하지. 아니 메장위 정신라 아니 장마진에 차단일로 제대하지. 네 탐지로 다음에 정신라 친한게 최용수 줘봐. 아니지 다음에 정신이 봐라. 다도 진에 차단일로 친지로로 예예 토네 아니 징용을 되나라 아니 그 동인데 조다 매버지 뭐다 매버지 대만 되어이나 아니 용양디 아니 동행 바지 용돼야지 용돼야디 차진디 소소쌤 기두고라.
So therefore, this is a totally distorted cognition, distorted mind, this ignorance. It means that it makes us conceive something which is totally distasteful as something attractive, and we develop attachment. It makes us conceive something that is completely impermanent and momentary as impermanent, and we grasp into that. It makes us conceive something pure, which in fact is totally contaminated, and we grasp into that. Therefore, the root of the problem, you see, is basically in the mind itself, at the beginning, in the moment, in the modality of conceiving the reality, grasping. Already there is something gone wrong in the mind that is grasping to true existence, to a self, where there is not self whatsoever to an intrinsic reality where there is no intrinsic reality, grasping in that way, along with conceiving what is not attractive as attractive, and so on and so forth. Although we want only to be happy, whatever we do brings about exactly the opposite, that is a constant experience of sufferings.
제가 가서 지 남부산지바 지 킬링이 이바 이나 주시에 대바토야 돼. 배 개체 보인 사람아. 가서 주시에 대바 마토와 이나 당가서 주 제기여슬라네. 아니 지 뭐지 가서로 다지 드리블이야 호마다 와신. 베라지나 가서 주시에슬라 주라나 고 주스. 로마 튜바데 튜바치바 시바치바. 아니 주주당이야. 딘드리도.
So therefore, you see, when we speak about Dharma in Tibetan is Che. Dharma is something that you cannot take it upon just with mere emotional blind faith. Your faith and your understanding must be based, radicated, rooted into correct understanding of the various modality. Otherwise, there is nothing happening. After all, Dharma, the word Dharma, Che, the meaning is that changeable, acting upon what? Changing the mind, the modality of the mind. And this can happen only on the basis of correct understanding. So therefore, faith based on correct understanding, it's the most important to be Buddhist. Just to be Buddhist because I have faith in Buddhism in general without understanding is not enough. Also,
제가 아니 딘드게 가지고로 다지 최양타고지 제고가 최대 자침보래 전에 최제당라 담모보지 여러 가서 소나미체 아니 다지 타르와다 탐지침배 공부한 전에 가서 이게 다지 톱치한다고 타두긴 제월라 다지 추구다 zugut number tumba지 그런 딘드지기 주주고 인자네 에 타두라 당가서 상지주 공부한 터에 되고요. 딘 되고요나 상제 공부한세나 아니 다 지 랑된 추고 진데 zugut 탐바지 톱 딘드지 톱차지 여발라 니 가발라요레 딘 칸드스 톱그래 디 주제 겐두스네 디 톱두고 말아 아니 주미제메네 디 톱두고 말아 제자 따와 친지로 이제 로네 릭도 상마로지 되는가 저기 다 추주기 있고 자체모인데 집체에 차더라.
Now, so we all have attitude to practice Dharma. We want to practice Dharma. We admire the achievement of Dharma, such as liberation, enlightenment. Because we are Buddhists, we say that these are our objective, our short and long-term objective: achieving liberation, achieving enlightenment. The enlightenment, the state of enlightenment, is characterized by the two supreme body, the Dharmakaya and the Nirmanakaya. Okay, but what are these that we want to achieve? Do we know what they are? Do we know what they consist in? How to achieve it? Obviously, this cannot happen without causes and conditions. It requires causes and conditions. What are the causes and conditions of achieving what we want to achieve? How will that come about? So these are all extremely important questions.
That is the sick savage sick tomboda, sick kitchenboda, bed missy de la ina yang susu ye, tambo le tambo barazi imba ina, susu ye, chu jelidina, tatu ye, ani topsha kare. Te tobar chevala, ani drupar chevala, ani tap kandisi jogore, ani shirap kandisi zel dongore. 아니 군줍라 된담 라야지 추 아니지 고란지 다지 나라 망해 마모 지기 나라 아니 디 짜치모데 룸룸 가르래샤 간제송샤 디 잭시야 데 베케시 모레도.
So you see, even at the level, at our level of beginners in this, so I forgot to say before, so this, the very basis foundation of the achievement of the Dharmakaya and Dharmakaya lies within us, in our mind, but is completely obscured, is obstructed by ignorance. So you see, even at the level of beginners, as we are now, for us is extremely important to ask ourselves, what is the enlightenment that I want to achieve? How does that come about? What is the method? What is wisdom? And what is this in relation to conventional and ultimate truth? And conventional truth also, there is so much of conventional truth that appears in a way and actually exists completely in another way. So you see, how does this work? How does one fathoms all these components? So this is extremely important question if you are Buddhist. Non so rinpoche.
대인자 아니지 수수기 전에게 당지 말이 발라야 당지 말이 와 있지 전에 랑 진진 라야디 롱엔데 간디스 용도 뭐 딱시 지야지 그거 친구로.
So now you see, therefore, on the basis of this ignorance of true grasping, on the basis of this ignorance of true grasping, then the helper, the attendant of it, that is egoism. Well, where does it come from? How does it come about? How is it related to ignorance of true graspings? These are important questions.
당지 말이 발라야 돼 아니지 가져로 다지 거 간다질라고 그래 코다 가서 제가나 아니 말이 발라야 돼 아니지 수수기 가인세나 오해니 마토니지 셰밤 아니 로암 아니지 오해니 마통아 마체 신지로게 아니지 럭시지 로드 좀 준진 내 제용도 되나라 아니고 지 당지 말이 빠지 미 참말로와 막고 왔다 마요와 말해마지 되더라.
So therefore the ignorance of true grasping, okay, this ignorance of true grasping, which makes us conceive an intrinsic reality where there isn't, this is the very root of our sufferings. Therefore, for us, isn't it important to understand what it is, how it works? It's the very root of the suffering. So ignorance is not just something, ignoring something, being ignorant about something. That means you don't know a particular reality. It's not just that. This ignorance is more active. It produces a different reality, okay, which is on the basis of reality and makes us conceive only that. This is very important to see. So it is an active thing. It's not just not knowing the reality. On the top of not knowing on reality, it produces a reality which we grasp on, which we conceive like true grasping. That is it. Non so rinpoche.
ngaso 차단기 당지 말이 빠이지 차단기 로직 제용도 되나라 과 나와다도 템버 징기도와 템버 짐바지 두기도와 나와다도 짐바데라 차기도와 내 인자네 데니지 대차 셰당 티무 낙심 네스 록다 차도라 소바지 동네 릭 용수 조과 준사데 차당데레도와 내 송장 당지 말이 빠데 차단기 로 준연다오르지당 포고의 니주기 아니 시샤 용수도 봐 시샤 코랑게 의누주 가래 제나 나기 세미나다 치 시샤 있나다 가리나 유다 유진 참말로와 띵중 체바 뜨바다 땡바 잠기 나네 장에 남자 샤대야 지마도 코랑 랑츠토다 주진라 마되바 주진라 마되와 주바지 둘좀 매 인도라 랑신 주바지 낭 진차 되니 빼 미시강에 조용으로.
So now, let's see how the process of the psychological process of ignorance sort of ignites the production of the various destructive emotion or affliction. So first, the true grasping is an ignorance that is active. It means it conceives a reality. It kind of projects a reality. If you see whatever appearance, sorry.
I got it, Jess.
I hope I didn't blow up your ears, okay? So now, if you if you look at how phenomena appear to the mind of attachment, aversion, jealousy, and so forth, so to the appearance to affliction is always true appearance, like if phenomena was independent intrinsically. So it means the ignorance totally produces, is behind all these afflictions. It produces the appearance of intrinsic existence. And because we grasp on this as being intrinsically existent, then we are so attached. Then we generate attachment, then we generate aversion, then we generate jealousy, and so forth. All these types of mind which produce exclusively suffering. But you see, in the background of all this suffering, what it is, there is a conception, an appearance of true existence, which is completely the opposite of how reality works. If you see the reality in external reality, internal reality, emotion, and so forth, there is nothing, not even a quantum particle of intrinsic existence, because all these phenomena are dependent. They're dependently originated. It means that their genesis is dependent. If something is generated in dependence, means the life of it depends, it cannot be independent. It cannot have an intrinsic existence, which is conceived by this ignorance. So this is the way in which the ignorance is wrong with respect to reality, and how this sort of enacts all the afflictions which bring to us all the various sufferings.
대상 최첨제로와 아니 랑진지 동배 랑진 대 가르신 중래에서라나 강여바 참말라 띵중기 랑진 인장 아니 랑한기 아니 고통한데 타치버지와.
So now you see all phenomena are completely empty of being intrinsically existent. So it means emptiness means they are not, there isn't any intrinsic existence. Why? Why cannot there is no intrinsic existence? Because all phenomena are interdependent, are dependently related. This is the reason why there is no intrinsic existence.
제상 띵중이 랑진지 임소인자네 니지 코라 주르 랑진 주베 랑진여버지 동네 랑진 나서고 주되니 대화 랑진 나서고 주되니 창말로와 띵중이 비토니 주전시 뚜르블라 라레네 소야데고 띵중데 체마즈 차들어와.
So you see, and all these, all the various experiences of happiness and sufferings as well, all this which is completely within the framework of our experiences, they are all interdependent. They are dependently generated. Causes, conditions, composite phenomena, and so forth. They are all dependent. So this is something, so you see, this is what supports the validity of the emptiness of intrinsic existence, because all phenomena are validly established as interdependent. Lonso.
제가 시라 표도 중앙디 아니지 그런 다든 짐비 롱인데 도야라 다 매비 시라 표도 중앙디 예 매바 첼마도 제당 문은 자야다 손음사와 잠지 아니 지 당지 말이가 줘야지 그또 두기면도.
So you see then, now our point is, how do we get rid of it? You see, the only way of getting rid of this, because it's a distorted way of conceiving reality, it is the correct way of conceiving reality that needs to be generated. So that wisdom, and therefore that particular wisdom which realizes how reality is interdependent, the subtle reality of dependent origination, is the only means of getting rid of the root of suffering. You see, making prayers, doing recitation, and so forth, they don't work in that direction. They do not damage the root of cyclic existence, that is the ignorance of true grasping. To the sharing.
다들 짐비 롱인디 젠데네 아니 랑긴지 랑조라 예 아니 지 연조라 당 아니 차당이 로데 정보 매버지 산에 정보 매버 겐도 전부 지기 안에 미세 제와이나 동에 소다 매버 랑 강에 넣는 중화마제 예 참아 강에 존인데 아니 랑긴진들이와.
And on the basis of grasping to this intrinsic identity, then egoism being so important, that mind that supports that mind that grasp on that. So this type of mind, because from the beginning, so is this type of mind on the basis of ignorance, then there is a strong identification of identity, I, of the person, that becomes so important. So that is egoism. But you see, it's the source of this. The source of this is false. It's a completely distorted cognition. So whatever generates out of it, it doesn't accord with reality. Therefore, only sufferings come out of pursuing the satisfaction of this ego grasping or egoism, which is based on the ignorance of true grasping. Not so.
내가 저 내당저러데 잠블링 콜라 지고 찍데 가서 침상 찍저러 찍당 뒤에 띵라 연조지 속차듯이 동네 만들어다 대화 되버디 그라 기충저지 내당 된듯이 열데라 나처게 니리 좋아노라 아니지 둔초라 로단데 아니지 랑기 초라 차대와 예이 초라 당대와 최선의 작업 이니시더르지나 수수이 작업 디 아니베 카토로 하정기 차대와 예이 작업라 하정기 당대와 딘디지 차당기 로디기 아니 따와 친질로와 쥐바 친질로와 레브 친질로와 동네 조다 매버지 용되기도와 디 마지 랑이 셈 되는 예사 자르바이나 랑기 낭 친장 아니 랑 카마데 랑 지고 투송아이나 강달 랑 지고 길로당 차당 길로데 고 그네 아니 가서 잠블링데 도식 제니제당 침장 도식 제니 야캅 도식 제니 셈젠 상월라 아니 두고 당인데 아니 차당 길로들이도와.
So so you see, whether being on the level of the individual, on the level of the family members, on the level of a small community, and going on and on and on the level of nation, of the world. If we look at the world, all us here in this world, we're all the same. We are the inhabitants of the world. We're all the same. We live together. It's like being a very large extended family. And the members of this large extended family, they all wish to be happy, and nobody wants to suffer. They're all the same. We're all the same, exactly the same. And yet, again, whether at the individual level, on the level of the family, on the level of the community, on the level of the nation, on the level of the world, and so forth, because the mind of these sentient beings, it is driven, is possessed by the ignorance of true grasping, which enacts also the egoism. I'm so important, then I am more important than others. So I am more important than my family members. My family is more important than other family. My society is more important than the others. My group is more important than others. My nation is more important than the others. And then this, which is driven originally by a completely distorted cognition of the world. So completely wrong. It's completely wrong. The reality follows wrong, and then what we have only conflict. We have conflict worldwide, we have conflict in the nation, we have conflict within the small community, we have conflict within the family, we have conflict within the individual itself, because it is completely, the life is completely driven by these distorted cognitions.
랑 진진저에디 아니 초징의 상은 당와이나 랑제나 지리 아니 니바 더바 지바이나 타이비 셈제 라야다 예 라야지 셈디즈 자첸보다 정보 랍첸보 지칼라파 가주기 상은 동안 대주기 미디 셈라 지바 아니 자캅디나라 축보돼야 가르쳐오르지 정보의 축보 참말로 아니 토면 참하게 아니 가워쳐서 주고 내 인자네 랑 진진데 가족이 용을 당 예 진진데 가족 망으로 당와이나 아니 네 아니 미치 집어서 용야지 이게 고주기도 와.
So you see, just connecting to now, before at the end, what I forgot to say is that therefore this egoism, this mind that follows only me, puts everything what is related to me more important, whether being positive or negative, is the mind that destroys everybody. Whatever is bad in the world, on the mass level and also at the level individual, it is due to this type of mind. So therefore, what we need to do, we need to widen our perspective, not just being concentrated on oneself. The more we widen our perspective, the more vast is our perspective, the vaster will be our experience of happiness and so forth. So now going back is that one should think, I'm only one. I'm one person. Everybody else is infinite. So even from that point of view, they are more important. Because there's so many, their happiness is more important than my happiness. Their suffering is more important than myself. So the more we are able to widen our perspective in this way, the more exponentially, the more we widen our perspective, our happiness also, our peace will increase, and also will become better person that is, everybody is pleased to meet, everybody is happy to hang with, that everybody seeks for support and so forth. This is exactly what we want.
근데 가족에게 연진인게 로데 숙체 뒤쪽에 안에 수수기 낭민 침장으로 있는데 소소 셈지바 바베보 아니 가신 아니지 가고 진년당 아니지 제가 진년도 빼미시 템보 가인세나 코셈 코 미디랑 미디지 가져로 템보라고 지나 심상고에는 코 템보 용도 미디를 셈년 봐줘나 주보에는 미수 가기리 심장 너나 추조리 우리 너나 추조리 속에 너나 추조리 약간 너나 추조리 추바 마세 아니 예 강이 못하면 봐서 랑 강이 동이 못하면 봐서 저거 이제 제정 린리기 제방 임바디 독자 임바디다 태성 매버서 봐.
So now, therefore, if we want to be happier, having a happier family, if the person who has a very vast, far-sighted mental attitude, which embracing mental attitude, not egoistic, but altruistic. So the more the person has this mind of altruism, the happier will be this person, but also the people around this person will be happier. You know, even on the level of family or a larger level, nobody likes the opposite. A person who is short-tempered, always anger, that loses patience very easily, you know, not even in a family is a welcome person. Not even the kids of this person will run away. So we all know, so the opposite is exactly what we need. The more the person thinks about others as more altruism, the mind is calmer. Because the mind is calmer, this person is stable. A stable person is a reliable person for others. But not only that, a stable person, a reliable person is someone who can really act upon benefiting others, actually being of benefit to others. The opposite, it is impossible. You're not beneficial to others, others will run away, and you're not going to be beneficial for yourself. So the more altruism, less problem, more happiness. Non sto dicendo.
인데지 랑 진진이 때네 아니 지금에는 뇌지야 남주는 게 봤더야 식독자시야 그래서디 최초 있는 순간에 시와이나 아니고 닉바시에서 옹슬라로 닉바라야지 서로 동행지 용거예요. 그 서로가 가서 서로 동행해야 돼. 만두비 서로들이 만두비 서로한테 딕바시 시기도와 제상 딕바 빵고리 시기도와 딘지기 딕바 빵알라 딘이 랑라 쭈 토네 랑라 따와 친지로 돼야당 쭈바 친지로 돼야 딘이디 아니 주주 땅 따와 친지 말로와 딘중기 대 코난이나 공부지야지 쭈바 세바 메바 마치 샘진 끌라 팬데 있었는 땅이야 동해 만들어 대반되어 랑지송 찍어래 네 마치 랑기 또그 땀 년자 랑지 근데 푸송 속바 참말로 샘진을 띵이 용거로 샘진을 마데리 랑라 컵 뿌르바 찍이요 말이야 네 찍자라 그냥 롱을 틱바 찍이요 말이야 대송장 샘진을 띵이 그거 정말 샘진을 띵이 용거 인자니 샘진 같은 친구래 샘진 랑지 아니 거라 랑진 거랑 땡중이 대코나니 인진들라 대마시는 몽대베 니주디 통소이나 코니제 지야 찍도아
라니부체
대응 와치네 아니지 친지로기 로디기 준네 아니 샘진라 내세 마보 류가 이숨기 아니지 가서로다 아니 준 대학이 록빌로 대차 제당 팀 덴데지기 차당이 로 주대야 돼 상망로 아니 디부디 아니 녜손숨 라서고 도와주노라 낭니 마튜와 제네 코르바노 코르 동네 존다 메버스 코르데기로 대송장 딘리기 동네디 빵 특주여봐 빵주여봐 강실라 빵 마투바 사대디나 대비장 닌제 제거 랑라 가진 체빙하니 닌제 제거야 사섬 제거야 쇠바 제거야
Randa insegni, va? Non so. T'accaba col suso. Aspetta un attimo. Chiasci, ma si di dusre. So, so you see, so therefore you see how the the ignorance of true grasping is what generates all the various destructive emotion, afflictions, as well as egoism, and then it destroys completely our life. So what happens is that because the mind is completely distorted with respect to reality, so we act upon that mind with our action of body, speech, and mind. So whatever comes out of our actions of body, speech, and mind is non-virtue. Non-virtue means that because those actions are streamed by a distorted cognition, all those actions, they bring about suffering. So that's why they're called negativities, non-virtue, suffering for oneself and for others. But suffering, isn't it the very thing we don't want? We don't want to suffer. So what is the cause of suffering? Non-virtue. How does non-virtue come about? Due to egoism and true grasping. So egoism, which means which sees oneself important above others, but actually it is exactly the opposite. Others are extremely, so there are two ways of thinking about others at this point to tackle egoism. Okay, so please listen to this. So first, how thinking about their kindness makes your mind embrace them, because even the smallest things in our life, whether it be food, drink, clothing, having a roof above yourself, being able to live, it all depends from others. Without others, we couldn't have even the smallest thing. We couldn't produce anything. Everything comes because of others, because we rely on others. We are dependent on others. You see this again, dependently originated, something which the basic ignorance of true grasping, which issues forth egoism and all the other affliction, completely mistakes right away at the beginning. So first of all, thinking about others are there extremely kind. In fact, every little, from the very little to the most important facets of our lives, without others, nothing could happen. So they are extremely kind. And then, like us, they want to be happy, they don't want to suffer, but actually exactly the opposite. Exactly the opposite, because their mind is contaminated with this ignorance of true grasping, which is a false, a distorted cognition of reality, which can be changed. And yet, even if they have the very seed of deliberation within themselves, they are completely taken and driven by the afflictions, ignorance, egoism, and what comes about is exactly the opposite. This brings about rebirths, constant rebirths in the lower realms, and even while living the life of a human being, this emotional distraction, these afflictions, through grasping, etc., egoism, make your life miserable. Within your family, within yourself, within your society, for yourself, for others, one suffering after another. And this keeps going also the cyclic existence, samsara, one rebirth after another, completely controlled by these two. But you see, from one side, the ignorance of grasping could see an intrinsic reality which doesn't exist at all. And with this conception, the strong sense of identity that completely covers up the incredible kindness of everybody else, completely. So you see, these are the two things then we need to eliminate, abandon, to share.
아니 옌벤데 사무스 치아트기 아니 랑기 코 쩐데 domro 그래서.
So you see, the more the more you are able to think in this way and develop altruism, the easier for you will be to spot, identify, and eliminate your mistakes.
아니 심 장부 차기 말이라니 심 자치모 차기 말이 심 장부 차기 말이 아니 대연아 수수 라네다 그러 라네 가리다 그래 심 자치모 가지 통야 삼는 당원에 시럽 표주당 거도 동 리기 주디도데 칸디스 빵고도 대위 주줘야디 주 가르샤 네가 주 가르샤 타도 주 가르샤 동네 주줘야 돼. 네가 가르샤, 타투 가르샤, 뭐 가르샤, 넘버 가르샤. 학과들라 순진용이되나 짐바디게 당진다랑 진진다 당진게 아니 그때 같이 넣기도 같이 코로나는 청기도 대주디 수수 시럽 배줘 땅네 시럽 배줘 땅네 대주 제주 지나 랑이랑나 진질라 진질라 주비돼 동네 지 주바다나 산지 질럽 주고 산지 질럽 줘야 돼 데리도 와서 다디 용야라 다디 송다
C'eri, nga tremba chuchu shushi ita rimuchi kadrincha bushushi nang tu terin tu c'eri muche de ngema di gomshi ci shuchen po io de kabla di tesle la verità ti rinsagni di che io ci shachi shueshi raguareva di tatarata grande tu c'eri muche no c'eri muche Nandramindu. So you see, the more you develop the mind, the altruistic mind, the better it is. But the altruistic mind has to be developed on the basis of wisdom, intelligence, investigating wisdom and intelligence. Just, the sentient beings are so important, or sentient beings are so precious, or sentient beings are so, just like this, it is impossible to develop this kind of altruism. This is not the way. The way is actually to use it, practically put it in your mind, educate your thought processing into this. And how? In order to educate your thought processing, you need wisdom. It's wisdom which makes your mind widen, your perspective widen, the wisdom that analyzes. So what is the causes of suffering? What kind of nature is there? What is attachment? What are these destructive emotions? How do they work? What is their psychological content? In which way they engage their object? How can I counteract this? What goes against their... So reflecting in this way, analyzing, investigating in this way, this is wisdom. This is the wisdom that makes your mind widen, your perspective widen. And this is the wisdom that is the very ground on which you can develop altruism and universal responsibility. Once this is happening, it means that you're turning you're seeing the causes of suffering and you're changing that direction. You're moving. This is the meaning of blessings. Receiving blessing is not from outside, is by using the teachings to educate your mind and to change. When your mind changes from being the cause of suffering to being the cause of happiness, that is the sign that the blessing of Buddha have entered your mind by means of using wisdom, rational, investigative intelligence.
수수수 다 강사미랭거래 가위 동에 나위 동에 치위 동에 리고 배드 톡도 밤니 용거로 네 상황으로 동에 데라 매바치야 가르치고 매바치야 동에 라야디 셈이 짐바지 지송아이나 동에리 짐바데 lö셔나 동에야 대바래 이 캡상으로
So you see, we all want to be free from suffering of birth, aging, sickness, death, all the various sufferings. It is possible to eliminate this suffering. How one proceeds to eliminate this suffering? This comes from, you need to change the mind. You need to change this way of conceiving. Lonso Rinpoche.
Dini nga zo sonam sa layash. Da dindiji tawa chinji lowa, choba chinji loya dini di pangwa la, ani dame tokwa shirab zi tsu samdang. Ani tangzi marikwa de mewa zonyi di dame tokwa kona mado yesa mariwa, dame tokwa zoya di karesha. Di shiki mido na rang gengen de, lama de. Rang jinzin zoya de ngo gyuni 동네 지 주미에 제다 뒤딱도 코르발라 코데니지 다 항다 tindeji pe dunge bazi inzang di ngoshe ne yin jinjin zoe de za chimbo khari imi lap chimbo khari imi ani pe de taibi semje lai pa chapde ni semde ja chimbo shuzi ja chimbo khazi yoba ina ngoy ni chu she ni ja chimbo tagas ja chimbo marda ngoy ni chu 신앙 게 추이 랑이 코라이 랑신 강이 바데 하고이나 ja chimbo chare 데라 데니 랑신 데라 데니 띵중 뚜뚜기 니수가네 자와지 지용도 되나라 아니 정보 제시 그래 정보 제시와이나 정보 용 그래 제정 상지 좀 된데 침발하나 매봐 님발하나 매봐 제발하나 매봐 줘야 돼 주미 재미 주진견도 주미도 와 딘데스네 혼자 방황 옷이 줍자 줍어 옷이니 아니 소소기 롱아 있으면 줄줄친 롱아 있으면 동네에 아니 제대인데 줄네 대화대 공부당 탈 대화 용수가 민주나라 아니 동네 나면 마용아 지당 동네 매바 마치 아니 뒤다 남바 근데 셈제라 펜바 바시 던tum이지 잡로 매바 고로 매바 so 내가 저 단다 뒤 단다이나 배 산제지 아니 고송 투 연대 바 제네 아니 자신부 지야데 주디 하고 보도 하고는 이나 아니 빼야오리.
So you see, just attaching this one to the remaining of the previous talk. Therefore, because it's a wrong conception, if it is a way of thinking, liberation and suffering, samsara. If you think in a way, because you're thinking in that way, there is liberation. If you think in another way, in the wrong way, there is suffering, samsara. So it has to do with a way of thinking. It's the mind that thinks in that direction. So not knowing the ignorance, not knowing the reality, the mode of reality, not knowing, not contacting reality as it is, dependently originated, and on the basis of that, thinking oneself more important than others. So these two are the most important thing that we need to tackle. Okay, so from the point of view of the ignorance of true grasping, we need to penetrate with intelligence the reality and see how, because phenomena are dependently originated, they cannot be intrinsically existed. And then the other part, which is egoism, we need to understand deeply how each and every suffering, unwanted things, whether personal or in the world, in the existence, are due to egoism, and to see how beneficial is altruism. At the beginning, we need to go and reflect on the benefit of altruism and the disadvantages of egoism very profoundly, and then have the mind as vast as possible. What does it mean to have a vast mind? It's not just vast mind. It has a very precise connotation. It's the mind that inquires reality. It's the mind that investigates reality, the actual mode of existence. By doing that, that is the meaning of vast, profound. Okay, so that is very important. And on the basis of that, the reflection and the various advantages of altruism versus the disadvantages of egoism, the advantages of altruism, the advantages of egoism. Now, this is the way of basing one faith with reasoning, because the Buddha, on the basis of understanding correctly reality and abandoning completely egoism, as achieves, so the achievement of the enlightenment, of being omniscient, of being spontaneous activity for the benefit of others, it comes through this transformation. Therefore, the achievement of the state of Buddha is based on causes and conditions. So one needs to know precisely what are the very causes and conditions that bring about the resultant state of Buddha. Understanding the causes and conditions of which brings about Buddha, then you will understand really very well the quality of Buddha. Then you understand at the time why going really sincerely taking refuge in Buddha Dharma Sangha, seeing the quality, quality and so forth, because on the basis of the fact that phenomena are dependently originated. Because phenomena are dependently originated, it's completely possible to abandon all these causes of suffering and develop all the causes that bring about the resultant state of Buddha. Non sto dicendo.
so chöba yakshi zajenbo zechena tawa chinjil malowa da chöba chinjil malowa di ze zimbi tone deni 오늘 전에 소놈사야 류지 소놈사야 나이 소놈사야 이지 소놈사야 데니지 쳐봐 퓨야 네건 로야 겐들라 닝고를 제야 다 소놈 이지 칸데지 중화이나 타르바다 탐지심비 공방기 주르그와.
So now you see, therefore the Dharma practitioner should have also, this is discourse I kind of forgot before, but Rinpoche kindly brought about it now. Therefore, there are two things that we need to take care: view and action. The view of Buddhist, the Buddhist person, is the dependently originated reality, genesis by dependent relation. And the action is the activity of non-violence. By reflecting in this way, as I explained so far, all our actions of body, speech, and mind, which previously totally driven by egoism and through grasping were only negative actions which bring about suffering for oneself and another, will become only virtuous actions of the real actions, activities of non-violence. If it's done in this way, with this understanding, with the understanding of wisdom and compassion, of altruism, in the way I explained, then whatever action we do, body, speech, and mind, whatever activities we think we do for accumulating merits, etc., like doing pilgrimage, making offering to the Buddha, doing devotional activities and like that, then each and every of those actions will become the causes for liberation and enlightenment. Otherwise, they don't. No.
나서 대바이나 대바 넘버 쓰는 거네. 대바 지역을 되나라 당연 대바. 근데 대바 이치 대바 나니 이치 대바도 기체시지. 봐. 이치 대바도요나 당연 대바도 근데 대바니 냠도 용으로. 이 집에 대바도 매일 요걸라 당연 대바다 근데 대바도서디 아니 망고 지붕대 자로 봐. Tini nga su tuzu di takpe misi nyumu rakpa halebi ta nyumu shindu rakpa zikala ni su shinansa uzi le rwa chingubo yarji tsi tombo shiuzi chi tini ji karzo ro da di dingne ani semla ani ji redo lo yongsu zokpa shinansa uzi chay ni su dendre yi tuzu tab jowo dendre yi ni su gabla 이 집에 대바 시에네 대바 돌아야 돼 빼기지 뭐 시에네 대바 탑송이나 되니 메토드 피바이나 뼈지 피바이나 꼬라지 자와이나 되니 소소래 이츠마지 제일 시에네 대바 마토와이나 메도 부 아니 쳐봐 부 떠봐 부 꼬라 내고라나 가신 제와스 지다 랑이 리선나 가르 팽기도 랑이 미 가래 응은도 가래 랑을 제바 가래 띠긴 데니 저나 윤제 참으로 와더니 기가 들어오면도 데니 쳐줘야 돼 야고 말이 라야지 년가 갈래야 년가도 와 가이스나 쳐이 제 마시나 아니 쳐지야지 라는 예손 줍시 라야 되고 마치 이제 그 년가 면도 제정 년가도 와
Per cui, so sorry, I was starting to speak in Italian now. So therefore, fade, when we speak about fade, in Buddhism, we have 3 types of fade: lucid fade, manifest fade, and fade of trust. The last one, the fade of trust, is the most important of the 3. Without the fade of trust, lucid fade, manifest fade won't manifest. It is impossible. It is impossible to develop those 2. Okay, so now we need to reflect. We are in a situation in which our life is where in the world there is so much strong and coarse afflictions in the mind of people, and this brings very coarse problems, and this is paired with the technological development, huge technological development that is coming out, and because of these two things, then the mind of people are ever more without hope, depression and so forth. So this is a moment in which for us it is extremely important to develop faith on the basis of correct understanding, faith which is grounded in reasons, grounded in intelligence, what is called faith of trust. Okay, otherwise, so if we do that, then each and every act we do a devotional act of making an offering of flour, an offering even a smaller thing, then will bear its right fruits. Otherwise, without that, no matter what we do, it won't bring about what we wish for. Even if we make offering, we do this and that. Actually, we should ask ourselves, why am I doing this? Why am I making these offerings? Why am I making these praises? Why I do these devotional acts? What is my objective in doing this? Do I know very well what I'm doing? What are the causes, the conditions? So this we need to ask ourselves these things. Otherwise, there is a risk that we do things without understanding just because we are emotionally somehow involved in it. And then there is a risk that even what we think is Dharma practice becomes the cause for the lower realms. It is very easy because we proceed without intelligence, without wisdom, without understanding what we actually do.
semi rangin de 다지 가서 제주 지하당 땅가서 딜 하사요 말레스 가서 잠블링 딘나라 미시 주용도 그나라 안수수기 주노롱주 벤조 같이 짜 첨부 요가 있나 짜 첨부터 요리 고기를 용거래 달라기 참모로와 체진레스 체진 매와데 전주기 셈다 돈이 있다와 줘야 돼 세드 매와 짭루바 매봐 고르바 매봐 가이스나 랑기 동에 같이기 동에 연한디 동에 싸만이 매봐 지통인데 오 님바 젠디 디리 나니 다인 거야 이 송도도 대송장 아니 가서 참말로와 미진나라 강이 최종 가르치 쳐봐이나 시럽 배주 당야 랑기 셈이 랑인지 시럽때 같이 배주 당와이나 타르바다 탐지 침비 공방 받아봐라 셈데 자침보다 빙자부터 카세야 이러 맞추르바이 시럽데 맞춰 배주 당네 디가를 줘야 돼 비케셔물이 다 출바 당지 말이 빠져야 되랑 진진 줘야 돼 러브를 바래 코 출바래 아니 코 가져오고 코 지내갑지로 코 내갑데 가지 이면디 pechu tangni di chun zi ma de base di jing ma de base di le cha ma de base di gi ni chu de che ba ina ani nga so dungi khara zi ina sel tu gure shira pechu tangwa ina namju ra tangsa la tangwa dang 아니 직주부 시에서당 독자 가르쳐 여와는 되서라 닌제제 셈장고 장고 락삼 아니지 가르쳐 저바 라야당 한달 8신 죽된 거래 라야당 나 되서대 짜시고 지거랑 랑신지 중으로 수수기 짐바디 직토나 동네 남이야 용야요 말에 동네 가리 있는 수수기 매바치 두그러와 따디 매바치 고기도나 딘지기 동에 매바 제단이 탑대 산지 좀 된 되지 뉴몬 라고 빵당 아니 디니 양 뉴몬 처음 빵당 참말로 수수 감다 매바 참비지 아니 주자시모 등가서라 아니 셀류리 잠주강인도와 대 인자니 니카랑 가서 줘야 돼 개체 모래샤 대 인자니다 상말로와 주지체 니 땀시 녀라 지안서 년이 뒤져 때라 빼 같은 체 드는 가서 로니 나라다 내염 프로스 몽주 모게지 젠진의 짝시 동에 남자 저하메바 중화래 시도년 되절로 물론이야고 저 군조순보 방보 자네 물론잖아 군조순을 짜야이 님바요래 랑라 대바당 다낭 학sam이여나 군조는 제야이 님바요래 되네 소보테서 미시 디나라 닝고 요가지 메시지 도야지 jamninje chanjugi semdang 아니 양탁배 따와이 돈에 내가 자와 가르치 제와이나 손에 내가 가르치 제와이나 아니 따와 양탁과 따와 친지 말로와 쪄바 친지 말로와 디기 띵는 로토바이나 아니 쳐봐 아니 수수 짜치슈데 자거래 제기도 도지체 같은 제 학벌들은 잡지서 버는 무진지 다 데라 데지 송로치 송송 라로치 생각나다 미세게 라야 말인 라마 같은 자와도 샹다 잡지서 버는 무진 넘버 콘 넘버 저기 질라비 띵네 나서 파주 최이 시야지 돌링시야지 고급지 중송 대상 말로 아니 산지시 고말 무지 더 체들라 아니 원화 주기니 같은 제
So now, therefore, it becomes very important for us to be able constantly to use wisdom and the nature of the mind, to use this nature of the mind, which now is occluded, but to pull it out clear and using it. This is the best thing. This is the best wealth. Then there is no matter whatever wealth one might have in the world, external wealth, being riches and affluence. All these things are adventitious, are temporary. The wealth which is within the potential of your nature of the mind, it is inexhaustible. That is the real wealth. Why? Because it brings about infinite benefits. It eliminates completely all the sufferings and brings about the final infinite result of liberation and Buddhahood, benefiting infinite sentient beings. So this wealth is infinite. The other wealth is temporary, adventitious. It has limits. This is limitless, what you already have embedded within the nature of the mind. So it is very important to direct the mind in a way that is not distorted. So to counteract with the wisdom that realizes emptiness, so one needs to know how to do that. And also the egoism, the mind that thinks only about oneself and doesn't embrace all the others. So you should consider that all these are qualities which are embedded in the mind and infinite, whereas even ignorance, afflictions, and so forth, no matter how strong they seem to be, they are adventitious. They are veiling the mind temporarily. They can be eradicated. They can be completely eliminated if we use wisdom correctly. And this wisdom would widen our perspective, even from the point of view of now what we see, we perceive things and people as our enemy, and we react upon them with aversion, wisdom will make you see completely the opposite way. The more one is an enemy, the more compassion you will contact this person, you know, without anger, with wish to really compassionate wish, or really you will see how precious it is. So with great compassion, knowing that it actually can eliminate all is suffering. So in order to be able to do this, we need to follow, study, and practice the teachings of the Buddha. The Buddha gave all these teachings clearly, how to tackle this emotion, this other thing, how to abandon the causes of suffering, how to achieve happiness, everything at various level, coarse, subtle, more subtle, in accordance with the propensity, the view, the capacity of all different of all the different people. So by doing this, not only you will receive all this benefit, but your life will become meaningful. All your life will become extremely precious, extremely meaningful. So now, now we are at the end of this. We all gather here. I was so extremely happy to be able to participate in this. What puts us together are the blessings of Lama Vajradhara, His Honesty Dalai Lama, and Kyabje Sopa Rinpoche, who was requested for this meeting to happen, saying that it would be very beneficial. So let's dedicate all the merits that we accumulate for the benefit of all sentient beings. We've been going through lots of problems in the last 2 years with pandemic, with many people have died, many people have suffered. We need to dedicate for them. We need to trust the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they work, they're able to do their thing, okay? It's for us to have trusting faith based on reasoning. If we have really clear trusting faith, there won't be any problem. We know we can entrust, dedicate for the benefit of all these people who have died, who are dying, and also for the benefit of all the world and all sentient beings, so they may all achieve the supreme enlightenment as soon as possible. And our lamas, the Lama Vajradhara, Kyabje Sopa Rinpoche, may live forever. No, so, Tuche Rinpoche.
So deni anda de kodi chenye anelada ani khona ba chong mi chamalo kadin ches ani chizi ji ni za ngula ma to dise de pat tung ma to che ra ma so nga ne ko da se ani me chu ya de dise chama je san do o de deni da che number so Italy ni mi ma do che number ani jo je yo
Yes.
je yo la so 아니 거가 비디네 안다 가서 말레이시아라 나 찍지나 건다 용 투서 말에 뒤즈디 딱다지 더러와 드니 좀나라 드니 가서로
순수제초래
어디 주빈 정아이나 디라니 되게 제초지 가진체에 전조 점조를 뭐지 뭐지 번호 제주제
So I would like to thank all the organizers, Venerable Tenzin Landron, Lara, and everybody, Jean-Luc, of course, everybody who participated in this. I see many Italians also, students on this. That is good. So now I wanted to apologize with the shortage of time. I'm in pilgrimage. I thought to give more time, but actually the time is being further reduced. So I apologize for that. I hope it's not doesn't cause any inconveniences. And my friends in Malaysia, I must apologize because I won't be able to go there now. But we can do our we can see each other on Zoom. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody.
아니 니 깨줄 전이야
whoever was there translating for me in various languages. Thank you so much. Ne rimboche kusachate terona tujisi ne pege gondo pe wa
yawa chukse dage jesa ba thomje do be chanju chembo menamlo dan jenda wan ji Tamba jikden kansum chumba dan tamba ni tenje punu shinda tamba yi tamba yi nebe gashi. Thank you. Bye.
Grazie, tu dice rimboche, gyopoje yo rimboche, tu dice kadrinche.